morning, Viewpoint. This is, my goodness gracious, Mrs. Busby, the illustrious co-hostess of Viewpoint.
I'm not so lustrous.
Oh, yes, you're illustrious. And you're illustrious, too, absolutely.
Not so much.
Well, here we are, high on the hill here in the Lazy Road, County Road 2250. Once again, bringing, I believe, an excellent guest this morning.
Yes.
And we're going to reserve the kudos, which we usually start with this morning, and lay that Wednesday morning kudo on our new guest and all those who associate with her in this endeavor that they have really done a great job with. We're going to get to that right away. I saw something and looking through my files from our old friend Darrell Klink.
Rest his soul.
Rest his soul. He was a funny man and a great friend. Something said about aliens. And it says here that 11 billion, that's with a B, to 22 billion is spent on welfare to illegal aliens each year by state governments. These are all verifiable. They have sites that verify these figures. 2.2 billion is spent on food assistance programs such as food stamps and free school lunches for illegal aliens. Now, I don't mind helping these little kids. That doesn't bother me so much. It's the parents who come here and expecting a handout and demanding it. $2.5 billion is spent on Medicaid for illegal aliens. $12 billion a year is spent on primary and secondary school education for children here illegally. And unfortunately, they don't speak English, certainly not very well, if at all. And finally, $3 million a day is spent to incarcerate illegal aliens. Well, to get your attention here at the Christmas season, ho, ho, ho.
Merry,
and bah
merry.
humbug to you, too.
Yeah. I got another one, too. You know, I have this thing about the Salvation Army. I'm very, very fond of that organization.
They do a great job.
Yes, they do.
They do a great job.
And this kind of reinforces my thought that they do a great job. The American Red Cross president and CEO earns $951,957 a year plus expenses. And
Well, he'll need that money for expenses.
Yeah. And the United Way president receives $675,000 base, along with numerous expense benefits. The UNICEF CEO gets $1,900,000 a year, plus all expenses, including a Rolls Royce, which is probably newer than my car, huh?
Oh, boy.
The Salvation Army's commissioner, Todd Bassett, receives a salary of $13,000 a year, plus housing, for managing this $2 billion organization. 96% of donated dollars go to the cause. 96%. Now, you don't find much above 96%.
No. You know, it's so obscene, those salary figures for these people who are in fundraising. It's no wonder people turn a blind eye once in a while to these things.
Well, you know, I've got to the point where I get a call on the telephone and they want me to. Every cause is worthy. You know, you can't argue with that. But I always say, well, what percent of the donations actually go to the work of the organization?
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, usually they don't know. Because these people are just hired to call you. You know, they don't know all the ins and outs of the organization. So it's no slam against them. I mean, I don't know the
took
ins
that
and
to
outs
its base level years ago when I was in business on Chicago Street. We had a number of taverns between Kirpin's Corner, Kirpin's Grocery, and Alvy's Drugstore on either corner on Chicago Street. I think we had about 4, maybe 5 taverns there. And I always get somebody would hit me up for some money. Hungry. You hungry, partner? Yeah, I really am. Well, let's go into Malloy's restaurant here. Well, no, I'm not really that hungry. So I took that at its base level. Instead of asking them how much percent, I just found out that you were 1 or 2. I think maybe it might be the time we have. We've got to figure out how to best introduce our guest. And I'm going to try to give you a little clue on that right now.
How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the wagon.
How much is that doggy in the window? I'll let Mrs. Busby introduce our guest this morning.
Dear.
And we're delighted to have her.
Bless her heart, Ellen Burbage heads up the Lincoln Logan, Humane Society of Logan County. And you know, just lately, Ellen, we were talking on the way up about dog stories, you know, good, bad, and indifferent. And on the news, I've heard lately two things that absolutely curled my hair, which is quite a challenge. And one was about people who had a dog tied in their yard, and somehow the neighborhood children got the idea that it would be fun to pound this dog with bats. They had bats and they had broomsticks, and they just pounded this dog until he was, or she, as the case may be, was almost gone. And that just makes me think, my gosh, if that were any one of our kids, we'd have ruined the kids, you know? I can't believe anybody could do that. And today, they were saying some man got cross with his dog because it piddled in the house. That'll happen, you know?
To have a dog, it's going to happen.
So he threw a pot of boiling water on the dog. What in the world? If you don't want a pet, don't get a pet. Right?
That's correct, yes. And part of our mission, and one of the things that we do, we have a corps of 5 humane investigators that are licensed by the state of Illinois to go out and investigate. We get reports of abandonment, cruelty, things like that, and they will go out and investigate and talk to the people. And a lot of the cases are not near as dire as the two that you said, because people just need to be educated. And we work real hard at working with the people who have the pets. If they don't have water, we tell them that and they say, well, they just keep dumping their water over. Well, there are bowls that you can get that don't dump over. So we work with the people if we've had a complaint to try and rectify that complaint. And if the animals have to be removed, then we go to law enforcement and get them involved. So that's part of our mission, besides all the other things that we do. So, you
know, unfortunately, we get people out there who own dogs whose IQ is as high as the dogs.
That's correct.
You know, I'm not seriously. If you could measure a dog's IQ, and there are ways to find out how smart a dog is, and we've seen some wonderful things on TV about how smart animals are. A quick aside, we were talking about this morning the email that's gone around that shows the dog that brings a blanket into the cage all by itself and covers itself up. Yeah. Pretty clever. Go ahead, Judith K.
Well, what you mentioned that there have been times you've had to go to law enforcement to have a dog removed from a home. That would be because of what, for instance?
Well, if the dog is not being fed properly, or it's not able to be warm in the wintertime, or it's being abused, or something to that degree. And, you know, there are animal cruelty laws, and we can investigate them according to the state of Illinois, but we need to get law enforcement involved to remove the animal.
Christmas is coming, Ellen, and people are looking for gifts that will make their friends and family happy. And one Christmas, I got a puppy that I hadn't had on my Christmas list, actually. And I think that happens to people. Let's talk a little bit about giving pets for Christmas.
Well, we would love for people to adopt our pets, but we also would like to know who they're going to and why they're going. And the person that's receiving that pet really needs to want that pet. And so if you're thinking about giving a pet for Christmas, you need to really tell the person ahead of time and let them pick, especially at our shelter, let them have the opportunity to come and view our animals and get to know them. We have an adoption room where you can go in and spend time with the animal by yourself to see if you're compatible, or if you like the animal, or if the animal likes you. Sometimes animals some animals don't like men, some animals don't like women, and a lot of people don't want a really active animal. Some people want a docile animal. So we'd like to give them the opportunity to get to know, and they can come back and visit, and as long as it takes for them to decide what kind of animal they want.
Right.
So we pretty much require that the person who is going to be the recipient of the animal come into the shelter and meet the animal.
Ellen, I'd like to go back to the beginning, if we may, please. How your organization got formed. It's a great success story of volunteers coming together with a common cause. You've had a lot of help. I'd like to mention how you got some of your financing to get this shelter started. I'd like just a little bit of the history, if we may, please.
Well, the beginning of this was in Einstein's Coffee House, I think about 5 years ago, when a group of citizens got together and decided that they needed to have a humane society in Lincoln because animal control was overrun, and they needed a place for unwanted pets. And it started there, and they started fundraising, and with small fundraisers, bake sales, all kinds of different kinds of things. Dog washes. We still do dog washes every summer, so which is a great fundraiser for us. And it progressed to the point where we were fortunate enough to get a bequest from the Holscher estate, and so we had a large seed money, and then the Burwell family donated us land to build a shelter. So it just through the work of so many people. I mean, and there's so many committed volunteers, from the people that bake for us on a regular basis to the people that come in and clean our cages and sweep and mop and do all that. Because to your point earlier, we have one paid employee who is there on a very limited basis, and that's it. So everybody else, including myself, who does all this, is not compensated. Yeah. And all of our funds stay in Logan County. We don't send money anywhere. We're not affiliated with any national organization, state organization. We are all in Logan County, and we're here to serve the citizens of Logan County. So we're really proud of that. And the community has been so supportive and has done so much for us, and it's just really heartwarming because people realize that we're doing something good for everybody, and not just for the animals, because we also have a food pantry for people who need pet food. If they're on hard times or can't afford their food, maybe they've been laid off, then they can call us and we will let them come get food. We also have a veterinary assistance. If somebody has an animal that's very sick or gets hurt and can't afford to get them taken care of, they can apply for our assistance. And there is a vetting process. But we also try and help the people as well as the animals in the community. And it's just through the efforts of the volunteers, and we're always looking for volunteers. We need people. If you can give us 2 hours a month, that would be wonderful.
I wanted to stress that, Ellen, because I'd made a note about that. You're always in need of volunteers. 648-5510 in case anybody might like to call in this morning
and volunteer.
Yeah. Seriously, give us also a number that a volunteer might call home in Lincoln, so that they make themselves available. If only, as you suggest, an hour, 2 hours a week, that would help somebody.
Immensely, yes. Our number is 737-4042. And everybody says, oh, that's a cell phone. Well, it was a cell phone, but we now have a building and we have a real phone, and we got to keep that number. So that was really very good for us. So it's 737-4042. And if we're not open or nobody answers, you can leave a message and we will call you back, because we can certainly use volunteers. And if you want to come look at the animals, you can do that too.
Dogs are kind of fickle. My friend has a new dog, a cute dog, that was rescued from a puppy mill. And Louise is a very nice dog, but she doesn't like men. Now, going back to being a little fickle, sometimes she hates her owner, and sometimes if he has a treat, he's not so bad, She can be persuaded. So anyway, I know that one of the duties that your volunteers do is they socialize these animals. Let's talk about how you do that.
Well, here's a volunteer right here volunteering to open the door for the cat.
Yes,
The cat wants out.
I'm her doorkeeper.
There's a wonderful cat in this office that is just
go
very
kitty.
vocal and very demanding, just like
Very
all
demanding.
cats. I want what I want now.
Yeah, that's
to your
her.
question.
That's her. Yeah. So how do you socialize the cat? And for instance, how could they help Louise to like both the man and the lady in her
That's
house?
a lost cause.
Well, the way we do it is that a lot of animals that come to us are very timid or scared. They've probably been bounced from one home to another. And so you just work with them you take them out and you walk them to begin with, and you show them attention, and then we'll brush them. And we try to interact them with other animals, not cats, but dogs. We'll interact the dogs together. We just put in a huge exercise area behind the shelter where we can let the dogs out to play together, which is great. And then the volunteers can go out in this area too and play with them and brush them and just give them the care that you would give them at home. And if they don't like men, then you try and start them out with women and then gradually introduce a man, the man to them, because animals are not going to, just because you love them, they're not going to love you. So you have to show them that you care about them. They're just like people. I mean, that's they all have their own personalities.
On the other hand, if you don't love them, they still can return an awful lot of kindness.
Yes, they
They're
can.
very forgiving.
They are. It's amazing. They are just. I have such a good time every day because I stop there every day on my way home from work, and it's just like I have all these pets, and they all are just so glad to see you, and so it's they return love unconditionally.
It's interesting. You mentioned something very important, Ellen. It isn't as if you didn't have much else to do. You do have a regular day job, so to speak.
I do.
But you're kind of really on call about 24/7 with this volunteer work that you're doing.
That's right, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on your website. I think it's very well done. I don't know much technically about those things, but just visually and all, it's very well done. And you feature on that pets that are ready for adoption. Another feature on your website is lost cats or dogs. Would you speak to that just a minute, please?
Sure. I'd also like to comment on the website. Our webmaster is Jim Watkins, who is a volunteer. So we have been very, very fortunate that we had somebody who that's what they did, and he volunteers his time and maintains the website. So that's been a great boon for us.
Again, another volunteer.
Right. We have a place on there. We have a form on the website that if you've lost a pet, you can fill it out, and it comes directly to me, and to Jim, and he puts it on the website. And then I have a large email list that I send an alert out to if we have a pet that's lost or found, or somebody finds a dog. So the website enables you to give us the information, and I can get it out to a lot of people in the county within 24 hours usually. So
yeah, there's about 75 or plus on this large email list.
Yes.
I noted that.
And that's I have two of them because I can't send them all out at one time. So I do two of them. So
well, most recently we had a cat, and
the cat has been found. Yes.
And then we have a white husky named Kodiak that maybe ran away and maybe
didn't. We don't know, but it hasn't been found yet.
Yeah.
But we've had pretty good success with this too, which is really nice. People do find pets, and we've had the good thing about the shelter too. If you find a pet, we can't take it, but we can scan it for a microchip to see it. And we've had 2 or 3 in the past week or so that people have found, and they were microchipped, and we returned them to their owner. So that's a great. Another thing that people really need to get their pets microchipped, because if they get out of the yard or they get lost and they're microchipped, it's there forever, and any place that they're found, they can be returned to you.
I might, as a courtesy on this dog that's the white husky, it's pure white, just perhaps give the numbers that have contacted in case anybody knows anything about this dog named Kodiak. Ran away a couple of days ago. Obviously, a white husky is going to have blue eyes. We know that for sure. Blue collar with brown paw prints on the collar. And the number would be all 217 871-9498. And another number is 871-5507. In case anybody knows anything about that white husky, Mr. Ash would be glad to be the agent to help somebody get that dog back, I'm sure. So then we have a matter of your meetings and so forth, and wherein you have regular meetings monthly.
Yes, we have regular board meetings. We have committee meetings all through the month. We have 2 general membership meetings, one in July and one in January. And our annual membership meeting is coming up in January. It's January the 18th, and it'll probably be at 7 o'clock, and we're going to have it in the parish hall at Trinity Episcopal Church, and anybody is invited to come to that general membership meeting. We'll be electing 2 new board members, and we would really also like people to come to our board meetings. They're open to the public, and they're held at the shelter. And if you get my weekly email, then you know when they are and where they are, and I try and publicize them also in the media. And we're running a $500,000 business, and that's
that again.
We have, our net worth is over is $500,000.
Really?
So, and that's due to the Holsher estate and the Burwell, but still, it's a huge undertaking, and we're a 501c3 nonprofit, so any donations, of course, are tax deductible, and we're open to the public. So, feel free to call and find out when there's a board meeting. If you want to come, we'd love to have you, and we'd love to have you at the membership meeting, because we do an annual report, which I will present at that meeting. So we try and be very accountable to the citizens of Logan County who support us and allow us to continue operating, because without their donations and their help now, we won't be able to, we have to have continuing money flow. So
on what committees, what's the array of committee assignments that your volunteers can choose from?
We have fundraising. I need people, I need office people. We have administrative people. We have merchandise people. We have a small merchandise sale at the shelter. We have T-shirts, sweatshirts, different kinds of magnets. We have people who've made dog and cat clothes that have donated to us that you can buy. We have our animal affairs who handle our spay and neuter. They handle our adoptions. They handle the veterinary assistants, and all of the people that clean and help in the kennel. So anything that you're interested in, I need people to help with. And again, they can call 737-4042, and they can volunteer, and we'll send you an application and make sure you have something to do.
Now, also, you accept donations of cat food or dog food.
That is correct. Yes, and they if you can't get to us, we'll come to you. So, but if you want to come by the shelter,
doesn't get any easier than that.
No, it doesn't. You can come by the shelter. I was there yesterday morning, and a lady walked in with 5 bags of cat food and 2 bags of litter. That's huge for us, just huge. Yeah. So we're always willing to take any kind of donations. Yes.
Now, what other sorts of things would you accept as donations? Like, for instance, a dog crate, for instance.
Crates, right? We could use crates. Anything that, like a dog bed, it has to have a cover on it. We have to be able to take things off and wash them, right? So we do take that, and of course we always like cash.
That's spelled
C-A-S-H, right, cash.
Yes.
Speaking of cash, we're going to take a quick commercial break right now, and then I want to talk to you about the people who come from far and away to get animals.
I'll tell you about that.
Yeah, thank you.